For the first time in our nation's history, the nonprofits are going to be, at least in the human services area, are going to look a lot more like the people that they're serving. For the most part, many of the leaders of the nonprofit world came out of the 60s and the 70s and were Anglos who wanted to do good things in their lives. I think that's going to change in the next 10 or 20 years, and most of the people leading nonprofits will be people of color and people of different ethnic groups, and I think that's a real promising development. And I think what's going to happen is a lot of our kids are going to want to give back. If they become pediatricians, they're going to want to be pediatricians in their own community. If they become business people, they're going to want to be business people in their own community. And many of them will actually work in nonprofit work. They'll become teachers, they'll become social entrepreneurs. And I think organizations like Community Partners are really going to be, have to have much more capacity for I think a far larger number of people who are interested in doing public sector work and nonprofit work.
You know, Los Angeles has some big challenges facing it over the next, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Education is a big challenge, housing, dealing with the poverty, and really the solutions are not going to come from the public sector necessarily. We've seen how difficult it is for the public sector to actually solve problems. Really the solutions have to come from people working privately to think about these problems and to pose innovative solutions. And so Community Partners has a tremendous role to play in actually, providing a venue for these innovators to, find a home. And this kind of support that I've gotten over the last 10 plus years to take their ideas and make them happen.
Money has dried up. Funding isn't going to get much better, and I don't think we can depend on government agencies to fund us. We've got to think smarter, and we've got to think of new ways to build a funding base for ourselves. And so I think we have to start thinking about new partners. We have to bring in more business. We need to bring in more donor bases. We really do need to look at big picture. In California, we've got the film industry, we've got Silicon Valley, we've got the high-tech industries, we've got a lot of industry here that we have not been able to engage. And we need to figure out a way to make what we do important to them too, because they have an investment in making sure that this state thrives just like we do. And we need to engage them in smarter ways to become partners with us, become part of our networks, become part of our overall strategy of where we want, in my work, violence prevention to go, but in the work of all the other social entrepreneurs.
I think a couple of trends that seem to be quite positive and hopeful are the recent elections, where an increasing number of younger first-time politicians have made it into the state assembly and into the state senate. And I think for that part of Los Angeles, their political representatives will be, I think, much more responsive and helpful to their local constituents, particularly in the field of education, among others. So I think that's very exciting. I don't know that the trends will affect my work all that much. I'll keep on doing the mentoring that I do. It might enable me to get more resources to perhaps pay for some staff to help out. But I think for the families and the students that we serve in that community, there should be an increasing sense of optimism and hope for these students who want to go to college. Many of them are quite bright and motivated, but they just don't have anyone in the family to help them navigate the increasingly complex college application process.
One of the reasons that we formed ABLE was to address what I think is going to be a growing concern for our community and our nation in the coming years, and that simply is a very profound demographic shift that is changing the nature of our population. We have a growing non-Anglo population. We think that more diverse boards will help speak to the needs of the community better. Diversity, whether it's gender, ethnic, or racial, people who come from different perspectives and look at a problem are more likely to come up with the most creative solution of those problems. And I don't know if there's another organization like Community Partners that could really help immigrants, new citizens, people with new, fresh ideas get a start in a toehold and begin to address the needs of our community.